Alright guys, so in this short video I'm going to show you how to find mean and standard deviation of a data set using the graphing calculator. Especially when it comes to find the standard deviation, as you might have seen in the video lectures, it is a really painful process to find the standard deviation of a set. You have to go through too many calculations, and after a while, after many or rather a larger data set, it is not very practical to do that. So I'm going to show you how to use the graphing calculator to get all the information, all the stats. So we're going to do the following. We are going to click the stat button here, which is below the del, and then we are going to click on edit. We click the enter button here, which is this one right here. Okay, and then you will see the different lists that you can populate with numbers. So we are going to input all these numbers. So I'm going to input the number 6, but every time I put a number, in this case number 6, I will click enter. When we click enter, the next cell is going to be selected, and then the number 4, click enter, the number 2, click enter, the number 5, click enter, the number 4, click enter, the number 1, click enter, the number 5, click enter. Okay, so in this case we are done populating the list with the information. I'm going to click second and the mode button to quit. I'm going to quit, and then I'm going to click stat again. Stat. In this case I want to calculate statistic values, so I'm going to go calc one of our stats, because in this case we are dealing with only one of our stats. If we were dealing with two variable situations, which we might be doing later on, then we would do that. So be sure this first function, one of our stats, it's highlighted. Click enter, and then in this case it's going to show you it's going to actually display the list in which the data is stored in order to get those calculations. So we are going to go down and click calculate. For now, ignore the freak list. We're going to use it later, and click enter. And it's going to give you everything. All right. Now, let's make a difference here. If, for example, if we were working with a sample or a population, so it would depend on the problem, on the way it is worded. So if we were looking for the standard deviation, for the sample, we call it the mean of the sample, which is called x bar, and x bar is precisely the number that you have, that you can see here. All right, so in this case we need to be very, very careful with the rounding, because every time the rounding rule for means is 1 decimal more than what we have. So in this case we have integers, so we are going to round this to 1 decimal place. If our data set otherwise had 2 decimals, then our calculations were rounded to 3 decimals. If our data set had 5 decimals, then our calculations would be rounded to 6 decimals. Okay, so in this case we round to 1 decimal, and in this case 3.85 gets rounded to 3.9. Okay, now we need to be careful with the symbol for standard deviation of the sample. The standard deviation of the sample is the letter S, which in this case is going to be 1.8. That's the rounding to 1 decimal place. For population, what do we do? Well, in this case we use the Greek letter mu for the sample, for the population mean, and in this case it's exactly the same number as the sample. It doesn't, the value of the mean doesn't get affected by whether the data is coming from a sample or a population. However, the standard deviation does, and we have this Greek letter lowercase sigma. In this case we round to 1.6. Okay, As you can see, well, you have more numbers here, these Q's and med. Well, this is the median. The median is 4. The median is 4. But we are going to deal with those later. And the Q's don't look at those for now. So this is just the basic mean and standard deviation. So again, it'll have to do with the wording of the problem, whether you use S or sigma, and that's the part that you have to be extra careful there. All right. Also, it tells you how many entry do you have in your data set. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 elements. Okay. So this is how to use the calculator to find one of our stats. Okay. I'll see you on another video.